In this tutorial, we're going to explore the Divi Machine plugin that works with the Divi theme and allows us to do all kinds of great things using a custom post type. But before we get into the Divi Machine plugin itself, we need to learn more about post types and custom post types so that you know exactly what they are, why you would want to create one, and then we'll see how to create one and how to format it using Divi Machine. Let's start by talking about the post types that either come with WordPress or with the Divi theme. The first one is blog posts. These have been around since the early days of WordPress, and I call them blog posts because that is their intended use. Now, while they are meant for blogs, they are often used for many other types of things and kind of tweaked a little bit to make them work. In those situations, you're probably better off with a custom post type if you start with it from scratch. Pages are when you have a static page for your website, and these have also been around for a long time, and this comes with WordPress. Once you install the Divi theme, it creates a custom post type called projects. This is intended to be used for portfolio items, but that doesn't mean that it isn't used for quite a few different things, just like blog posts are often used for other things. But if you have the ability to create custom post types that we're going to explore, you're better off creating one instead of using projects for something unrelated to a portfolio. Now let's look at some common custom post types created by plugins that you may be familiar with. The first one is WooCommerce products. Actually, WooCommerce adds more than one post type, but this one is where all the data about products is stored. The next example I have here is testimonials, and this particular one is created by the Divi Testimonial Extended plugin. By its name, you can tell it's used to create a testimonial, so it asks you a person's name, their picture, their position in a company, their website, etc. Next up, we have one called Food Recipes, and this comes from a plugin called WP Tools Food Recipes. And if you look carefully at the menu, you're going to see a number of different custom post types are involved. Food Recipes is the main one, but within that, you also have ingredients and equipments. Yes, they spelled it wrong, or it just sounds funny, but that's the way it is in there. So you add various ingredients that could be used in multiple recipes as an ingredient custom post type. You include things in your equipments that could be a pan, a bowl, a microwave oven, whatever it happens to be. And then in the recipe itself, you combine all those things together. The last example I have here is from the Events Manager plugin, and it's for creating events to put on a calendar. So obviously the main custom post type is events, but you also have other custom post types like venues and organizers that once again are combined into the main events custom post types. There are many more custom post types created by plugins, themes, etc., but I figured this shows you a good example of what can be created, but what we want to focus on in this tutorial is creating our own custom post types to do exactly what we want. To work with custom post types and to create them, there are various tools that exist. But if you're watching this, we're going to assume you are using the Divi theme, and one of the best tools to work with custom post types in Divi is called Divi Machine. It is not free, and what it does is it works along with the Advanced Custom Fields plugin, and we'll see that as we get into the demo portion of this tutorial. And here's where you can find information on the Divi Machine plugin itself. It's not the least expensive plugin you'll come across, but the power is well worth it. So if you're working with a single site, you can get it for £24.99 per year or £99.99 for a lifetime subscription. If you want unlimited sites, it's £99.99 per year or $299.99 for a lifetime. Now, if you're not based in the UK, you might be a little thrown off by the pricing in pounds. So at the time I recorded this, £1 was approximately equal to $1.28. So you'll have to do the math at the time of purchase to figure out exactly what it costs. And like I said, once you install Divi Machine, it will prompt you to install Advanced Custom Fields or Advanced Custom Fields Pro, because it works along with that to create and then to format the data from custom post types. Now that we've gone over some of the common post types, some custom post types, and we've looked at the Divi Machine plugin information, let's go ahead and create a custom post type. So you'll notice on the site I have two plugins installed, Advanced Custom Fields and Divi Machine. Those two are required. You can use Advanced Custom Fields Pro if you would like the extra features, and Divi Machine will work with those extra features. Of course, the Divi theme is also required to use Divi Machine. So now we're going to go to the Divi Engine menu and select Add, Edit Post Types. We're going to create a post type to add a directory of Divi gurus. Obviously, you can create any type you would like. So what you'll do is click on Add New, and it's going to ask you a few questions. So we need to give it a title. I'm going to call it Divi Gurus. And it automatically populates that as the post type name, gives it a slug. Now, we could use a hyphen here instead of an underscore if you would prefer. So just for grins, I'm going to replace that with a hyphen. It's warning me that if I change it, I may mess things up, but since we're just now creating it, there's nothing to mess up. How do I want the post to be visible? So I'm just going to leave everything as is, and in the sidebar it says where do you want to put it. So it's going to show up below posts once I add it. We need to choose a dash icon. If you click on this, it will show you a sample of all of them. I already looked one up in advance, so I'm going to use dash icons ID as my dash icon name. I don't need tags. Now I can choose what I want. So we want a title. We want the content block. That's where we're going to put the description of each guru. We're going to go ahead and leave excerpt here. We may or may not use it. We don't care about the author. We want a featured image. We don't need comments, trackbacks, or revisions. Obviously, we want custom fields. and we want page attributes. I personally am not a fan of Gutenberg, and we certainly don't need it for our post type, so I'm going to leave that disabled. Do we want to have a prettify URL? I'm going to leave that as is. And everything else here, I'm just going to leave with the default settings. And we're going to create post. It thinks for a little bit, and now our post has been published. And if we look over here in our menu, you'll see Divi Gurus is a new post type. So we're halfway there. The next part is going to be setting it up in advanced custom fields. Now that we have the post type of Divi Gurus created in Divi Engine, we're going to go to Advanced Custom Fields and set up a field group. These are the fields that will be part of Divi Gurus. So select ACF Field Groups, and you'll see right here a button that says Add Field Group. Now, prior to doing all this, I did a little homework and decided what fields I wanted to create. With some post types I've used, I only had 1 or 2 fields. The one we're going to do today has a few more than that, and obviously you can add as many as you would like. So our field group, we're also going to call Divi Gurus, just so we can connect the two together in our minds. So the first one is going to be a text type, and it's going to be name, just the name of the person. And it automatically assigns a field name. We can have a default value if we like, and we're going to add another field. This will also be a text type, and it will be the location, so where the person lives. Now we could do something really complicated and put in latitude and longitude and put that on a map if we like. We're going to keep this relatively simple. We're going to add another field. In this case, we want it to be a URL, and you can see the various types of fields we can add. And we'll call this website. So the website of the Divi Guru we're going to be adding. And notice it automatically adds the name, which I could override if I want, but there's no need to. We'll add another one. This time we're going to use the phone number type because we're going to add a phone number. And we can have all kinds of extra stuff with phone. So to have stuff before the input, stuff after the input, I'm just going to leave it basic. Our next field, we're going to add an email address. And that is another type of field we can add. So we'll just type in email. It automatically gives it a field name. And then the last one we're going to add is, once again, a URL. This will be the Facebook address for the person. If we really wanted to, we could add other social media fields or other URLs, but we're going to keep it to just these fields. We've added 6. Now you might say, wait a second, we haven't added a place to put in a bio or a description. That's going to go in the body of the actual post. And then we don't have a picture of the person. That will be the featured image of the post. We could add those as separate fields if we really wanted to. But we've got everything we need. So now let's scroll down to the next section. We want to show this field group that I just created when the post type is equal to Divi Gurus. So that connects the two together. We're all ready to save the changes. And now the two pieces have been put together. We're ready to start adding data and then creating layouts for it. Now we have our field group set up, our custom post type is all set, and it's time to actually add some data. So we're going to go to Divi Gurus. We're going to select Add New Divi Guru. At first glance, you're going to say this looks just like a blog post, and it should. So the first thing to do is put in a name. So I've got a name, and I already put a bio on the clipboard, just some Latin text. We're going to select the image. This will be the picture of our guru. So we'll select that. Those of you that have spent some time in Divi may recognize the picture. It comes from one of the sample layouts. Now we need to put in the rest of our data. So again, the name, her location, and the location is a free-form text field, so you can put in there whatever you like. Her website, her telephone number, her email address, and a Facebook address. Now, this is a fake person, so all the information I've put in here is definitely fake, and the last step will be to publish it. And we're going to repeat that process for all the different gurus we want to add to the site. Maybe at some point later we could even set it up where a guru could come to the site, fill out a form, and that form automatically populates the Divi Guru data. But for now, we're going to do it this way. Once we have enough data in there, we'll work on formatting it so it can be displayed on the site. You'll now see I've added 3 different Divi Gurus into our custom post type, and we're going to start the formatting process so we can put them on the page. To do this, we'll go to Divi, Divi Library. We're going to add a new layout. We'll call this Divi Gurus for Divi Machine, just so we know what it is. And we want it to be a layout. We'll click on Submit. We'll wait for Divi to load. We want to build from scratch. We'll insert a row. And of course we have our Divi double load going on, and thankfully that's supposed to go away in Divi 5. Okay, so in our section, I want to set our spacing top and bottom to 0. And in our row, we're going to do a few different things. So for sizing, we want to set it to 100%. We want our spacing top and bottom to be 0. We want rounded corners, so we'll make that 5 pixels. And let's go ahead and add a box shadow. So I'm going to set it to 0, 0. Let's make this 8 pixels instead of 18. And for our color, we're going to go with the purple, and we'll bring that down to 50%. Now we've got our row all set, and it's time to start adding the data. So the first thing we're going to add is the image of the guru. So if I scroll all the way down in my modules, you'll notice there's one here that says Divi Machine, and that opens up all the different Divi Machine modules. So what we want to select here is the thumbnail. We're going to go ahead and go with the full size. We want to link it to the single page. I'm going to turn off the title tag, and we'll just say, well, one more change I want to make here. So for sizing, we want to make sure it's forced to be the full width. Okay. Our next thing, we're going to add the post title. And once again, in Divi Machine, we have an option for post title. Do we want to make it an H1 or something else? I'm going to go ahead and make it an H3 because there's going to be multiple of these displaying on a page. And we do want to link the title to the guru page. Get the title from the post title. Now, if you remember, when we entered the data, the person's name was also the title. That's why we're using the post title here. The next thing we want to do is add the location. So let's go in here, and we want an ACF item. Which field do we want? We want location. What tag? We're just going to make it a paragraph tag. There's lots of other things we can put in here, but for now, I'm just going to go ahead and save that. And then the last item we're going to put in here, we'll go to Divi Machine. We want a post button. What do we want the button to say? We'll say View Guru. We want it to be a full width button. And then on the design, we do want to do some things. So the button text, we want to make sure it is white. Let's go ahead and make it bold. And the button, we'll use a custom style. It also has the text on here, so just for grins, we'll make that white. The background we'll make purple. I don't want a border. We'll make the radius 0. Remember, the container, the row, already has some roundness on corners. And we'll make it bold. So let's go ahead and do that. Now let's look and get an idea of what it looks like. And keep in mind, it's going to look a little bit funny. So there's our button that's supposed to be full width. We don't see our text showing up because it's not knowing what to pull it from, which is okay right now. Let's go back. We're going to update our layout, and next we'll add that layout to a page. At that point, we may need to come back and edit the layout, but we got to have something to start with before we put it on the page. Now that we've created a layout for our custom post type, we're going to actually put that data on a page. So we're going to go to our pages. And on our test site, we really don't have a ton of pages here, but we want to put it on the home page for right now. So let's go ahead and edit that page. we're going to create a new section, a regular size section with a single row. And once again, we want to go down and find the Divi Machine modules. And what we want here is an archive loop. So in here, it asks us which post type we want to use for our loop layout. We want to choose Divi Gurus. For our loop style, custom loop layout, now we need to choose it. So the layout we created in the Divi library is what we choose on the custom loop layout. For no posts, I'm going to go ahead and choose the same layout, but you could easily choose a completely different layout if you wanted to. For our loop options, there's lots of different things you can choose, but for right now, the main thing I'm going to focus on is it will show up to 6 gurus. Remember, this is going on the home page, so we could always include a button that says view more gurus going to a page with a lot more. And for the grid options, we want equal height cards, so each guru will be the same size. The last module we want to put at the bottom, and if you remember our layout, that's a button. And then how many columns on each of the 3 different layouts. So we want 3 columns on desktop, 2 on tablet, and 1 on mobile. Let's go ahead and save our changes, update our page, and once this is saved, we'll find out if we created something that looks good or if we want to go back and make some changes. So it's now saved. I have the home page loaded in a separate tab. Let's refresh the home page. And there are 3 gurus. They don't look bad. We've got our picture. And again, we've got our plus icon, and it puts a white thing on it. So we may want to change that a little bit. We probably want to format the name and the location. The view guru looks good. And if we click on this, it's going to bring us to a page that quite honestly is going to look awful. It's going to look like an unformatted blog post. And it doesn't have all our data. That's fine, because the other thing we're going to need to do is go into Theme Builder and create something for each individual guru. But we're off to a really good start putting our data on the page. We got each of the gurus added to our home page, but when we clicked on an individual guru and went to that page, it looked pretty awful. So we're going to choose Divi Theme Builder, and we're going to set up a template to display each individual guru. We want to add a new template, build new template, and we want this to apply to all Divi gurus. We'll click on Add Custom Body, Build Custom Body, and it's going to load the Divi Visual Builder. Now, I'm not a real big fan of working in the Visual Builder. Everybody has the way they like to work. So I'm going to go to wireframe mode to do all of our design. We'll add a row, and in this row, I want the post title. I don't need metadata. I don't need the featured image, just the title. We're going to make the title text an H1. We'll make it bold, white, centered, and I'm going to put in a size of 48 points. Now, if we were doing this on a live site, we probably want to click on the responsive icon and put in different text sizes for tablet and mobile so that it looks good on all of our devices. For the sake of time, I'm not going to do that here. I'm going to make the background of that row purple. Remember, we had white text, so we need to have a background color so it shows up. Now let's add another row. We're going to make this a 1/3, 2/3 layout. And in the left-hand column, we're going to put an image. I'm going to click on the dynamic content icon and choose featured image. I want that image to be full width in the column, and everything else I'm going to leave as is. Now I'm going to go up here to my row and change some spacing a little bit. We want the top of the image to touch the purple. So I need to change the spacing at the top to 0 pixels. But in the right-hand column, we don't want things to touch. So now we'll go into the spacing on the column and change that to 5 pixels. Okay, now in the right-hand column, we need to start adding some data. So we're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom, find Divi Machine. We want an ACF item. And the field we want is location. In the label separator by default is just a colon. I want to make it a colon and a space so that there's a little bit of a gap between the colon and the data we're going to put there. And then on the design tab, I want the label text to be bold. Okay, so we've got the location in place. Might as well just copy this. So we'll duplicate the module, edit it, and instead of location, this one I want to be the website, and I want the website data to be linked to the actual website. So under link, I'm going to choose the dynamic content icon, scroll down, and choose website. We're going to duplicate that module one more time. This time, we're going to change it from website to phone. Scroll down to our link. We're going to delete that dynamic content, and we want it to be phone. We're going to duplicate it one more time. Choose email. And for our link, delete that. Click on dynamic content. Choose email. The next one is the Facebook link, and we could do it the exact same way, but instead, just to do something different, make it look maybe a little snazzier, I'm going to choose social media follow. We'll add the Facebook network, which will give us the Facebook icon. And then for link, I'm going to use dynamic content once more and choose Facebook. One last thing to add, and that will be the post content. So the actual text that we put in the main box. So at this point, we're pretty much done. The formatting may not be perfect, but it certainly is a lot better than what we've had before. So we're going to save that template. We'll exit back out. It's very important you click on Save Changes here, or you may not see what you want. So now let's go to our site. I'm going to refresh this page, and you may notice in between videos I did tweak the formatting so that the name is bold and centered and the location is centered, etc. So now let's click on Jessica. And now you'll see there's her name. I probably do need to play with the spacing there a little bit, but you'll see her picture, the information. There's the website linked, the phone linked, the email linked, the Facebook icon, and the post content. So it's not perfect. We do need to add the space in these, but it's a lot better than what we had before. So now you've seen how to create a custom post type, how to set it up in Divi so that you can display it in different ways and format it. Get creative, come up with some cool custom post types to use for your site or your client site, and let Divi Machine take it from there.